LA, 54-year-old Mike Tyson returns to the ring for the first time in 14 years in an exhibition versus Roy Jones Jr. Jones, who's 49, stayed active, last fighting in 2018 when he won a 10-round decision. Stephen A., are you excited or are you concerned about this fight?
Well, obviously, I'm excited, but it's for all the wrong reasons. I mean, obviously, it's a fight, and we get that, and I love my boxing. Max Kellerman, I'm very, very worried. You know that I know Roy Jones Jr. You know I got a lot of love for him on a personal level. I'm scared. I'm very, very scared for him. And I'm not talking about just a knockout loss. I'm talking about the damage he will incur by getting knocked out. This is a Roy Jones Jr. Mike Tyson, he's been knocked out 5 times in his career as well, but we know the last 2, he basically retired on the seat of his pants because he was fatigued and old and all of this other stuff to McBride. We all know who Tyson is and who he was, and the last legitimate knockout was really to Lennox Lewis, and, you know, he was beyond his prime at that particular moment in time. Roy Jones Jr. is an entirely different scenario. Like you pointed out, Max, since he lost weight, went up to heavyweight to fight John Ruiz, came back, won a decision against Tarver, and then in their rematch got knocked out by Tarver. Never been the same since.
Never the
the
same.
ugliest knockout was Glenn Johnson right after that. And then, you know what? He got knocked out twice by no names in Moscow. I mean, it didn't all seem there. And those dudes don't hit like Mike Tyson. Max Kellerman, I'm scared Roy Jones is going to die. That's how scared I am, that he's going to get hit with the wrong kind of punch. And you know Tyson, it ain't just one punch. It's usually a combination. I'm not trying to be hyperbolic here. I'm just scared that he's going to get hit wrong and he's going to go down. I saw him, how he looked after Glenn Johnson. I saw him after he looked at some of these knockouts. I don't like this for Roy Jones. I'm scared to death for my brother. I don't like the fact that he's fighting this at all. I'm totally against this. I don't even think this should be sanctioned. Not that it is. I mean, you know what I'm saying. Well, I don't even like it.
I think it's important that you said that. It's important that someone in the mainstream media brings up it's dangerous, especially for Roy, as you said, when he came back down from heavyweight to light heavy, he was never the same. But I just want to make something clear to everybody out there. Mike Tyson is one of the biggest sports stars in the history of the planet Earth. But Roy Jones is a better pound-for-pound fighter. Roy Jones, at his very best, made me wonder, is he better than Sugar Ray Robinson? Right? He's the best I've ever seen. He was way better than Mayweather when they were both in their primes. No one thought Mayweather was as good as Roy. And in fact, when Roy went up to heavyweight, Stephen A., you know, after he beat Ruiz, he opened as a 2-1 favorite to beat Mike Tyson. But you're right, he's been knocked out brutally since then. And I love the man. I worked with him for years, side by side. We used to watch prelim fights leading up to the HBO telecast, and I learned so much just trying to absorb his boxing knowledge because he's brilliant. And I don't want to see him get hurt either. And here's the real rub, and this is one of the ways they sell this exhibition, headgear, 2-minute 8 rounds. The reason I think it's going to sell is precisely because of the danger you identify, Stephen A. You see, it's an exhibition, right, technically? But if it was Muhammad Ali giving an exhibition, you could imagine him clowning, putting on a show, not really trying to hurt the other guy, not trying to get hurt himself. And at the end, people go home happy or whatever, entertained in some way, and no one got hurt. That's not Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson doesn't know how to do that. Mike Tyson knows one thing. Ding, ding. Round 1, and as he said after he knocked out Jesse Ferguson with the uppercut, he's trying to push your nose bone into your brain. Mike Tyson is in the hurt business, and he's a naturally much larger man than Roy Jones. For that reason, I do think there is real danger here, and I think that that's one of the reasons it's going to sell, and it's a good thing that you brought it up, because as I said, I also feel that, and I love the man. I love Roy, and let me say one other thing. Had Roy stayed at heavyweight, I think those 2-1 odds to beat Mike Tyson back then were justified.
Well, I'm not going to go that far because I just have this innate belief that when you move up that considerably in weight, once you get hit by a legitimate heavyweight like that,
Different animal.
all of that stuff goes out the window. Yes, Roy Jones better pound for pound, but that don't have anything to do when he takes one of those punches. And Mike Tyson, first of all, you don't want Mike Tyson to hit you in the body, let alone the head. And we understand what we have seen from Roy. I literally was begging. I came on national TV. I called some of his boys. I begged, don't do this. Don't fight this. I am scared as hell for Roy Jones. And I hope that if he gets hurt, you know what? Just go down. Just go down, bro, and stay down until the fight's over. It's an exhibition. Don't do this. Don't go in there and try to slug with because you're gonna run all 8 rounds. Do whatever you got to do to stay the hell away from him. And if he hurts you, just go the hell down, because I am scared for
One
the
thing that might make you
residual
feel a little better,
effects
Stephen A.
that will happen to Roy Jones Jr. I'm scared as hell.
One thing that might make you feel a little better, and it's the reason you usually hear about tragedies in lighter weight divisions, it's usually not one punch that does it afterward, right? When you hear about the really bad stuff, it's usually an accumulation of punches. And it's hard to imagine if Tyson wins, it's going to be from an accumulation of punches because he hits so hard. If he wins or if he knocks Roy out, it's likely to be from one punch, which actually mitigates the damage after the fight.
Listen, I
After
can't
what
wait
we
to
saw
watch.
happen to
Listen,
Roy
guys,
Jones,
I wish we could be there.
A simple combo is all that it will take, Max. A simple combo is all that it will take to do
Bye,
that
everyone.
damage.
Have a safe
I'm
weekend.
worried.
We'll see you Monday.
Scared
Guys,
as
we'll
hell.
talk about it Monday. Looking forward to it. Bye.
All right, now let us say hello to one of the most talked about men in sports today. Why? Because he is returning to action this Saturday on pay-per-view in a fight that everyone's been talking about for the last few months. He is the one and only, the inimitable, the often imitated, never duplicated. He is Kid Dynamite. He is the baddest man on the planet. He is the one and only.
Ariel, you're running it down, huh?
Yes.
Thank you.
Mike, what an honor this is. And here we are just a few days before your highly anticipated return against Roy Jones on Saturday at the Staples Center. I have to ask you this, Mike, right off the bat. You know, your last fight was 15 years ago. It was over 15 years. It's been over 15 years since you were last on a Mike Tyson fight week, right?
Yes.
Approaching. What is going through your body? What is going through your mind as you're approaching weigh-ins, fight night? You haven't been in this spot for 15 years.
I noticed the difference. It's a difference. I noticed the energy is totally different. You can't ignore it. Subconsciously, you can't ignore it. It's just to be dealt with.
What is it? Could you describe that energy? Like, what's the difference?
I don't know. It's the equivalent to both being serene and quiet, but still lit up like a Christmas tree.
Did you miss that feeling?
I don't know. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. But it's really, I'm vibing with it pretty good, yeah.
Okay. You know, throughout the past 15 months, or excuse me, years, as you've talked about your career, at times you've said you didn't like the old Mike, right? You didn't want to romanticize.
Well, that was all about making me happy, the pretty girl and the Rolls Royce and the new house, that didn't make me happy anymore. So I had I said I can do this and I can help people. We can open up grassroots charities and we could do things to improve humanity.
So I'm wondering, do you like this version of Mike Tyson?
Big time, 100%, because it's not all about Mike. Before it was all about me and my feelings, and it had to be me. And sometimes the party's cool without you. When you have to learn, I truly work on liberating myself from myself.
When you left the ring that night against Kevin McBride over 15 years ago, if I would have told you that in over a decade you would fight again, would you have believed me?
Not in a million years, no.
Who was that guy back then?
I don't know. He was he needed to find himself. He was lost.
And so how did you find yourself, Mike?
As I tell everybody, life just beat me up. You know, I was beaten into submission by life. I didn't find God and become humble. I just lost the fight big time.
In my opinion, you're one of the great success stories of the past decade or so, because it did seem, and correct me if you feel otherwise, it felt like you were going down a path of being, you know, that broken down fighter who had so much money and was left with no money. Now here you are, a businessman. You've got this Legends Only League. You're coming back, all this stuff. Is there a person who is responsible for the turnaround? Is there someone, something that happened that
Listen,
helped you turn into this?
I know this sounds so cliche. You know, just that me and my wife, we just decided that besides being in love with, we have a professional relationship. We have a relationship with enterprise, and we enjoy our lives, and we won't have. And I'm listening to her, and I'm strung out on drugs. Or I'm listening to her. I'm saying sure, and everything she said came to prospect. We're dealing with great corporations. We have great enterprise, and doing this is just this is extra. This wasn't even on like you said, it wasn't on the radar. This is extra.
Do you remember when you came up with the idea that you were going to do this year?
I was looking at this show and it was about Jerry Rice, and it was about he was a 4 something. I guess he was a 5 something. So just because I guess he's a couple of seconds slower, he can't play football no more. And I thought that was ridiculous. Because I know now that we live in the era of Instagram, there's more people on Instagram would like to see him play than the person that plays his position now in the San Francisco 49ers, I believe, or the last team he played wide receiver on. And it's all about numbers now. It's all about what the people want to see. You think these people want to stop seeing him just because he's 2 or 3 seconds slower? No. So now he doesn't have any kind of outlet for his entanglement also. Now he can't do anything because he's a few seconds slower. So I said, that's ridiculous. We're going to get involved with this league, Legends Only League, and everybody's going to have a chance to participate.
And you know, it's interesting. Speaking of Instagram, you kind of came out of the darkness at the very beginning of this pandemic, right? We're all starving for sports. We're nostalgic. You know, this Michael Jordan documentary is airing on ESPN, and here's Mike Tyson, one of the most known figures in the history of sports, coming out and hitting pads and looking the way you do, and the internet exploded. Were you surprised by the reaction to even like an 8-second clip? That thing was passed around and viewed by millions of people.
Hey, listen, 2.5 billion impressions can't be lying. Okay. So I said this is something that would be really awesome. How many people could benefit from this? And I imagine if other people do this. If they say, what, Mike's doing it, I want to do it too. And they do it from a charity perspective. And it's not giving much of your time either. It's really not giving much. It's just all about cooperating. So of course, we're going to fight and we're going to be throwing hard punches, but it's all about the bigger picture, so to speak.
Sure. And we'll get to that in a second, but I'm just curious, when you initially put out that first clip, was it already set in your mind that you were going to come back, or did you want to see the way the people would react to it?
I never thought, no, I wanted to see the way the people react to it. Subconsciously, yes, I probably wouldn't admit it, but yeah, I think that's really what I wanted to hear.
And were you blown away by the reaction?
Just really humbled.